first off, how are you doing?
I'm good. I've been good. Pretty blessed. So,
Honestly, that's like the biggest feeling I've been feeling, especially all day today, just watching everything that's going on around the
yes,
world. I've been like, I am so thankful that I was born here. Like, yeah,
yeah. I'm healthy, so there's not much to complain about, really.
that as well. That as well. Okay, I'm just gonna do a little introduction on you, and then we're gonna get into some questions that I have for you, okay?
Nice.
So, for all who is here and all who will be watching this later, Kimani Peter is a social entrepreneur and designer. He studied industrial design at Carleton University for 3 years and later received his Bachelor of Design from OCAD University in 2019. Kimani is from Toronto, Canada, by the way. What is your background, though? Where are your parents from?
They're from Grenada.
Grenada, both of them.
Yeah, both of them. Yeah.
Okay, amazing. He started his first business at the age of 20 and believes that entrepreneurship is empowering in the way that it allows people to create opportunities for themselves. It is for this reason he seeks to inspire and support entrepreneurial thinking in others, especially those from marginalized backgrounds. He does this through his work as a tech education consultant, where he creates tech and entrepreneurship focused curriculum and delivers them in a partnership with various organizations. Amazing. He is also founder. In 2015, he founded Loud Army, which is what we're going to be talking about today. Loud is a music tech startup that provides a beat licensing app for artists for an affordable membership of $9 a month. These artists are able to download an unlimited number of beats on the app from elite emerging producers who Loud recruits. So that's a little introduction on Kimani. Is there
That's
anything else you
me.
have to add to that?
No, I think that covers it.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty
So,
comprehensive.
yeah, that's amazing. Wow, you're a busy guy. Today I wanted to talk to you mostly about Loud, just because this is like how I met you. I'm not sure how we met initially, but you did reach out to me to speak about Loud, and you were kind of like, this was like, I think like 3 years ago, though.
Yeah, this was
Like
a while
three
ago.
or 4 years ago.
I remember someone put one of my friends put on a concert and you performed spoken word there.
Ah, that's how we met. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
it was somewhere in Toronto. It was yeah, somebody at OCAD I think put together the show, or maybe it was UFT.
Oh,
Put
it could have
together
been
the
either.
show at
Yeah.
the exchange. That's about yeah. You were there, and I was
Okay.
like, whoa. You're like, yeah. I remember like, yo, wow, Dave's sick. And then after we ended up hanging out with like just a group of friends.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of how I remember meeting you. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Amazing. Now you've refreshed my memory. I'm like, how do I even know this person? But it's funny when I had this idea to start doing this interviews. I was like, I need to talk to him. Like, you're the first person. They were like, look for innovators. I was like, innovator. I'm like, ah, the first person I thought about, which is so funny.
Uh,
Yeah, the first person I thought about. So, can you tell me a bit about the origins of why you started Loud, where it was, and where it is now?
right, right. So we actually just celebrated our sixth year, and that was like last month. Uh,
Wow.
so it's been a journey, and it's evolved and it's gone through a lot of different iterations. I think like there's a long story and there's a short story. So I'm gonna give a short version of the long story. But I was in industrial design, just wanting to use the things that I was learning to pursue entrepreneurship, and the school just wasn't set up that way. So I went to go see my dean, and actually my dean kind of organized like a meeting with me because I actually stopped going to school so I could go to entrepreneurship conferences and stuff like that. And he's like, "Where this guy been?" Like, because we were like a small program, and I was like one of the top students. So he was like, "What happened? You went from being this top student to now like none of the profs know where you are." I'm like, okay, first of all, why are you guys watching everything I do? But it felt kind of cool to like for the dean to reach out to me and ask what's going on. And I was like, I'm really interested in entrepreneurship, right? And we had a little bit of a conversation about it, and we ended up talking about SoundCloud, and he was just like so afraid of SoundCloud and Instagram. Like he was like, "Oh, Instagram killed photography." That's what he told me. He's like, "Instagram killed photography," and I was like,
Killed it.
"Yeah." He's like, "I'm like everybody has a great camera now. Like Instagram just made the best have to go, be the brightest, right?"
It's true.
And his kind of I guess he's an older guy, right? So his take is that like is around like conserving industries and like just that kind of idea of like protectionism of an industry. And I'm
Hmm.
like, break the doors and let everybody in. And I was like, SoundCloud does that for artists. But then after I was like, there's more that could happen for artists. And I was like, whoa, there's actually a lot of things that could be done like in this industry, like for artists. And I like music. So I was like, ooh, I finally found out what my entrepreneurship is going to be. Because I've always been passionate about entrepreneurship,
Hmm.
but it was like, what am I going to do in entrepreneurship? And then I realized like the music industry is just, there's just so much things that you can do. There's so much businesses that can be created because there's a lot of, innovation that can take place there, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where it started. And originally, actually, it's kind of crazy because have you heard of United Masters?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
Tell me about it. Tell me about it.
I mean, I'm not gonna plug them,
Oh, okay.
but
Okay.
that that what they're doing right now was actually the first iteration of Loud. That was actually where we
Okay.
go, but I just didn't have the connections, didn't have the resources to make that happen. So I was like, okay, what else? What can I do now? Like, what can I start now? But yeah,
Yeah.
United Masters. I mean, I was just joking. Everybody who's here probably has already heard of it or knows of it. But
Wow, except for
they,
me.
yeah, I'm like, they like you make music.
I don't know.
What they did recently is they teamed up with a company called Bread. Right now, they do distribution and a bunch of other things.
Yeah.
They teamed up with a startup called Brand Bread or something like that that
Hmm.
raises funds to artists. So now
Hmm.
they're able to like give advances to artists based on like data. That was the first
Oh, that's cool. That's a
that was the
smart
first
idea.
idea that Loud was 2015.
Yeah.
So just so everybody knows, I was the one that started that way.
Okay, okay,
I
okay,
mean, I'm sure
okay.
other people had that idea, but like 2014, 2015, that was the initial concept for Loud. But you got to think about, okay, this is supposed to fund artists. Okay, where did the funds come from? Investors. How's that going to look like? Developer. It's just a huge
Yeah.
undertaking that I personally didn't have the resources or connections to put together.
Yeah.
And it's like entrepreneurship is not just about having the idea, but how you're going to execute, right?
Exactly.
So I started like reaching out, and I think that's how we met because after that concert, that was around the time I was reaching out to artists. I spoke to over
Yeah.
700. How much was it? It's around 800 artists that I've met with, just like the same meeting that we had. Because I was like, "Hey, Dave, you make sick music. Like, let me talk to you." And I told you what we're doing, but I also asked you a lot of questions, right? So,
Yeah.
kind of understanding by talking to artists, what do they need, what's missing, how can technology help, and that's
Yeah.
kind of my job, right? Like that's what I've learned is like it's all tech. Industrial design is a very tech centric, like industry.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, that's how my skills could be put to work to create solutions for artists. And now
Hmm.
where we're at, which is beat licensing, and it's just super affordable. Before artists had to, you know,
Hmm.
like pay $90 to $900 or $9,000. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Before now we're saying $9 a month. You could get unlimited beats on this platform, and we're recruiting. So there's only good shit on this platform. Sorry, I don't know if I'm allowed to swear, but like we have some incredible producers. So I get
Oh
excited
my
about
gosh. That's actually such a steal for $9 a month, unlimited beats.
unlimited
Guys,
beats. Yeah,
are you listening?
yeah.
Um,
And
that's
those
amazing.
is creating these like is creating win-win relationships, right? So
Yeah.
you get beats, but you're connecting with the producer. We give them your email, they get yours because it's a members only platform. And then when you release, 20% royalty goes to the producer. Loud has nothing to do with that. It's just that you got
Hmm.
their beat for $9 a month. If you win with it, they should win too, right? So
Exactly.
it's just
Who knows
like
what could, yeah.
exactly, right? So hopefully magic gets made. You can reach out to that producer, ask them to mix, master, whatever it is. Now
Yeah.
that you and the producer's relationship, Loud doesn't even step in. It's like whatever you guys do, make magic with it. That's what the platform is there for.
This is such a smart idea, especially like, okay, the thing that's like amazing to me about this is that you had this idea pre people being stuck in their house. And it's like, do you see how this is why I love innovators, honestly. These things, it's like when somebody introduces their innovation to you, it always sounds crazy because we don't need it yet.
Mm, mm.
But like, oh my gosh, I was just like really, I'm like, whoa, isn't that amazing? Like, so I have a question too. You had, I'm not sure if you're doing this still, but the idea about the recording kit that
Yeah,
could be
you got it.
brought
That was
to the
what.
person's house.
Yep.
So what's up with that?
So same idea. Like I remember I was like my first idea. I just didn't have the resources and connections to make that be the first thing.
Hmm.
So the loud box, it's something we could deliver, but if we deliver it now, we just can't make the full service that it deserves. You know, like the
Yeah.
belt, the whistles, even the materials that we use are just accessible materials. You know,
Hmm.
so we kind of scaled back on that. It's not that we don't do it. Actually,
Hmm.
we reached out for it and we set it up for them at their house. So we offer it. It's just not something that's like we're super public about
Yeah.
because we're kind of just focusing now on the B licensing, and
Yeah.
then for members, that's going to be another level to the membership. So if you're ready to
Okay.
record and you don't want to go to the studio, travel to the studio every day, boom, we set up the loud box. That's your portal to the studio. You record on it. You remember that it's like how it is, right? So
Yeah.
it's very compact. It's not mobile. You're not. We don't want you moving it around. Just keep it in one place
Yeah.
and record to your heart's content and then send those vocals to loud producers that get it mixed and mastered offsite. So you never have to leave your home. You're paying $30 a month instead of, like $50 an hour.
Yeah.
And get your feet wet, see how it is, so yeah,
Yeah.
that's when the pandemic happened, people were reaching out to us like, did you guys know this was gonna
I
happen?
even reached out to you. I
Yeah, oh
remember. I
yeah.
believe I did too. That's so funny.
Yeah,
That is so funny. So the Beat membership is available to anybody in the world,
that's,
technically, right?
that's right, yeah.
But the Loud Box is specific to Toronto.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
right. Yeah, right now. And that's because we're still everybody
Yeah.
that's gonna be involved in it now, they're gonna be almost like testers, like clients, but at the early stage of a product kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're not ready for
Hmm.
global rollout of the Loud Box yet. The logistics for that are just
I'm
very
even thinking about what that would look like. I'm like over here, my brain is going like, oh, maybe if you could do a thing with like Amazon Prime and you could just like they have to put it together themselves though. But you could like get it to them the next day through Amazon Prime, you know? Just like have these at the fulfillment center. I'm just like,
No, that's
uh
kind of that's the nice thing about like being an entrepreneur is that you're allowed to go wild with your ideas, and you
yeah, the
really like
sky's the limit.
definitely. We were thinking about like something that you were kind of referring to as like an IKEA type design where it's like
Yeah.
really to build and take down. Yeah,
Exactly, like just easy to do. That's the thing too about recording, and that's like I think a challenge that I've experienced as an artist as well is like, okay, cool, I would like to be able to record at my house, but I'm not a tech person. I'm just a person who writes the words and wants to say the words and share them with people. So it's like I think now more than ever people are realizing like you can't just do your job, you have to maybe learn another job, but we have to make it very accessible for these artists because a lot of
right.
artists never share their music or their creations because they don't find it accessible, you know? So it's like it makes a difference, a huge difference.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah, so another question I had, I guess you kind of answered it though. So has that been the biggest hurdle you've had in your business is finding funding, resources in order to take your business to the next level?
Yeah, definitely. And I think that stops a lot of people, right?
Okay.
I think that makes a lot of people think they don't have the right to have this idea because
Yeah,
it's too audacious or they don't have the funding. But at the end of the day, like rich people are not the only people with good ideas. You
it's so true.
know what I'm
Move
saying?
into this.
Yeah.
Yep,
So
it's very true.
you,
Um,
yeah,
That's
you,
another reason why I wanted to invite you to Afrinection, just because it is a global network and there are many people on here looking to invest in young creators from the African diaspora. So I was like, also like, you know what I mean? This could be a really good connection. Who knows? You could meet somebody on here who's like, I love this. Let me throw some money at this. You never know. You
yeah.
never know. So,
And I'm always open. What we did was from day one, I said I have to focus on something that gets people like excited. Because
Yeah.
I don't like, there used to be, back in the day, there used to be this thing where you open up shop and the people that, pay for the building are the customers who like it and want it to be there. So from the very beginning, I was like, find a problem that is that I can tackle with my resources,
Hmm.
or I can raise enough funds like from people that actually need that problem solved, and then go at it, right? So it's like development is kind of expensive, I'm not gonna lie, but
Yeah.
there is kind of like, if you talk to, and I talk to over 800, and you say, hey, if this existed tomorrow, would you pay $9 for it? And they say yes.
Yeah.
Your product's funded. It's
It's
funded.
so true. I've seen so many crowdfunding apps like on YouTube before I watch a video, and I'm like, oh my God, I want to buy this thing. And they're like, okay, donate to the crowdfund. It's not even, it doesn't exist yet. I'm like, but it's people are building whole businesses like that, and that people just like your idea and they're like, I'm ready to throw money at it. Okay, cool. I'll be one of the first people to get this ever. Like, it's, yeah.
Yep.
So, in terms of advertising, have you gone into advertising at all for Loud? What is your main mode of getting the message out about the business? Is it meeting people?
Right.
What is it?
So yeah, our marketing has been just growing our community. So we had events and things like that. Before people even knew what Loud did, they know us through like events that we've had.
Yeah.
So that's been fun, and it's been cool because like, now, like, separate from what Loud actually is, there's this community of people that know each other. You know what I mean? That come out, that are friends, and we help to create some of those bonds. So that's been really cool. So definitely, I mean, events are, they are difficult to have. They are
Yeah.
difficult. They are expensive as well. But we were kind of able to get into incubators that provided the space. And once we had the space, boom, it flourished. A lot of people don't realize space sometimes is like the biggest thing. You know what I mean? Just giving a young person or an entrepreneur a space to get Wi-Fi and show up and do
Oh
something
my
with.
God, it's the biggest thing
It's
sometimes.
it's
Some
huge.
people's homes that they grew up in or they're living in are not, suitable for your innovation. Your mom's not trying to have that. So, yeah, that's the biggest thing. Which incubator did you do? Did you do the Ryerson one?
Yeah, so we're in Ryerson Music then, and that's
Oh
it.
my gosh.
We got in. I'm not gonna lie. I hope they're not looking, but we got in. Like, boom. Maybe there's some funding. Nobody talked about funding, but I was like, maybe there's something there. I'm like, it would be nice. It'd be nice, you know.
Yeah.
And they're just
Oh
like,
my
hey,
gosh.
like you could use this building, and I was like, bet. Like for me, that like I'll go to work. You know what I mean? Like you give me a little bit, I'll make a lot with it. So boom, we were running our event.
Yeah.
That place, almost some people are like, oh, is that your headquarters? Or like people think it's our building, because the way we take
Because
care
you're in there.
of
That's
it.
amazing, though.
You
Sometimes just
know?
having that space that's dedicated to your thing, it makes the biggest difference. I know. Like, just like having an office at home. It's like, this is where I work. Okay. And you leave work there.
Yeah.
That's amazing, though. I'm so happy that you were able to get in there. Been a really great program for a lot of people. I have some friends that went through the fashion incubator that were like super
Yeah.
successful at that. So that's amazing. Um, so, along the lines of innovation, what do you know about NFTs?
Oh, I do know about NFTs. NFTs is a
Yeah.
very interesting space and kind of controversial because
Yeah.
of a lot of people don't really understand that like NFTs take up a lot of server resources. We don't see it because when you set that code up and it goes somewhere, you don't really imagine what happens for it to come back on the other end, right? But
Yeah.
NFTs are very like for like one NFT, like within a couple of days, it can take up the same amount of resources that a house does for a year.
Isn't
So
it amazing?
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So there's a lot of excitement around NFTs. Like I know Tory Lanez just released an album using NFTs, and
Hmm.
there's a lot of excitement for it. And I don't like to like curb people's enthusiasm or like be the downer that says. But if
Yeah.
NFTs continue and become mainstream, like they will end the world.
No, it's crazy because once again, people are thinking for right now. I'm
Yeah.
thinking for in the future when I don't know who wants to take over, North Korea, whatever, and music is illegal. Um, no, but really,
Yeah.
people are already living in this reality where they
Yes.
wish they could find an NFT.
Yes.
Um, it's amazing. So the reason why I wanted to know is if you knew anything about it was because I saw it as being something that could somehow in the future end up doing something with what you're doing because you are online and it
Mhm.
is about music and there's a royalties factor to it.
Yes.
I don't know if you've looked into making one yourself or if you're into it at all. Do you have any artists in your vicinity who are making them, putting them out?
Not, I do know of like one artist that got recruited to do NFT like illustrations, actually one of my good friends.
Okay.
And he's like grappling with it right now. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I mean, if they're gonna set you up and you're gonna make $1 million, like, I mean, the world's gonna end
It's
anyways. Like,
actually no cap to how much money you can make because it's royalties. So anytime it gets passed on, it comes back to you. It's like really amazing. Like
yeah.
people are like, yeah.
So what I told them was, because I don't want to sound like too evil. I'm like, at the end of the people are gonna do this, and a lot of them are not even gonna. They're gonna be completely ignorant or unaware of the environmental damage or havoc that it's wreaking. So at least if you do one or two NFTs or something like that,
Yeah.
you're that money that you would generate from doing that, you could put that into building awareness or whatever, letting people know. And I know it's like one of those things where a lot of people are gonna be like, it's one of those things where it's like your guilty conscience is trying to make up for the guilt or whatever. You
Hmm.
can look at it that way, but the truth is like this is the path things are going on, and like it's like for instance, it's like for people that say what, like let me get a good like people that, yeah, like NFTs, at the end of the day, you're still using a car or transportation, you still live in a house, you're still contributing to global warmings. Now,
Hmm.
if
Yeah.
that if any of that could be money that you generate and you're somebody that's actually aware, it's really different from
Hmm.
what that's gonna go into the hands of someone that doesn't know the impact that's happening, right?
Yeah.
So I do know some people that have that are getting involved in NFTs. I know the underlying technology of it, blockchain. I was interested in that for like music catalog and intellectual property rights management,
Hmm.
which is
Hmm.
the next kind of step of Loud, is I want
Yeah.
producers manage their catalog. But I'm still looking at how to make sure that's sustainable, right? Like
Yeah.
at the end of the day, like there's only one world. Like I know the billionaires are trying to, trying to fly to the moon, but there's nothing up there. The party's over here. The party's over here. This
Exactly.
is where the people are. This is where life. This is life right here.
Oh
So
my God.
so it's like you got to balance those things out, and that's from the very beginning of Loud. I've always, I didn't just think about the profitability. I also thought about the impact, the people that are impacted, the environment. How do we do something that is sustainable? Both
Hmm.
from like a people standpoint. Communities are being compensated fairly for how they engage with it, and the environment's not being damaged.
Hmm.
So that's my grapple with NFTs. But it's interesting, right? It's very interesting.
It is. Okay. Are you into crypto at all? Will I be able to
Get allowed crypto.
use my crypto? Or,
Oh
oh, yeah, there's an idea.
yeah.
Allowed crypto coin that can be used
Listen,
towards all allowed purchases. Oh,
you actually, you right there. You
yeah.
talking about innovators? You like
Give
talking
me
about
my stakes,
innovators.
Kimani.
I'm
Give me my
looking at an
stakes.
innovator.
Give me my money. I'm just over here throwing you all these freebies. I mean,
I'm grabbing.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so this is kind of the sad thing. Canada kind of has taken like very aggressive regulation on cryptos,
Yeah,
and so it's kind of not it's a gray area right now. Yeah.
it
So
is.
for cryptos for Loud personally was we're gonna do an ICO. That's an initial coin offering. An IPO is an initial public offering. So when a company
Yes.
incorporates, they can sell shares. We were going to do an initial coin offering. So what that means is it's a little bit different. Like the company or the organization, the entity can release its own currency, and the supply of that currency is equivalent to the value of the company. So
Okay.
essentially, if Loud releases 100 coins, then everybody who has a coin has 1% of Loud. So we wanted to do that because I just thought
That's
it's more
interesting.
equitable. There's a lot of
I
there's a
think that
lot of
is.
barriers. Yeah, there's a lot of barriers to traditional investing, right?
Hmm.
And like one of them is just like the regulation of it. Actually, you're not even able to get into initial IPOs unless you're an accredited investor, and it costs money to
Hmm.
get the license, all that stuff, right? So I wanted to do an ICO because I was interested in how I can I can basically fundraise in my community. It never has to see a traditional investor, you know. And if we
Hmm.
blow up, boom, you know, the community also can share in that success, right? But
Hmm.
Canada is kind of regulated. And you know, when we say regulation, I'm for regulation, but sometimes governments regulate things and they're not doing it in the interest of the actual people. They're doing it in the interest of more traditional industries to protect them. That's the same
Yeah.
thing with investing, right? Traditionally, when you did an IPO, investors won on both sides,
Yep.
meaning they were able to get into the company before it was IPO'd, and then they got to sell their shares off when it IPO'd, right?
Yeah.
And so when you come in and you're like, I'm going to completely disrupt that. Anybody, my neighbor could get a loud coin and become an investor, right?
Hmm.
That kind of threatens traditional industries that were gatekept and had a certain amount of, you know, net worth that you can even, you know, have a conversation that, hey, I'm an investor, you know? So Canada's
Hmm.
kind of come in and regulated in a way that protects that industry and doesn't really allow for, you know, the kind of things that I was describing. Now, I do think
Yeah.
it does need to get regulated. It does need to get regulated because there's a lot of people that have used ICOs to scam people. Like their idea was like, I'm gonna make, you know, a flying waffle, you know, and then they raise so much money because like the tech industry is crazy. Like a lot of tech entrepreneurs, they know that a lot of people don't understand what the hell they're talking about. So they'll just say a
Yeah.
whole bunch of googly gop and people will be like, I'm not gonna miss the next Google. I'm not gonna
Yep.
miss
Throw
the
some money at it.
in Amazon. Boom, boom, billions. They're raising literally billions of dollars in like in a couple weeks. So it was something that regulation had to happen,
Yeah.
but the way that Canada's kind of decided to regulate it has kind of taken out that opportunity to democratize like investment in the way that I wanted to for Loud. But you
Yeah.
know, we'll see what happens. It's still in flux, right? Like it's still to be determined. Like the regulation is still kind of, you know, like ongoing. There's nothing that's been cemented. But I do know a couple of big crypto exchanges have left Canada because it just didn't make sense for them.
Yeah, they're
So
blocking so much when it comes to Canada and currency. Like even the fact that we don't have Cash App and Venmo, like it
uh,
makes they're trying to block, like what I feel like is literally like they're trying to block that currency exchange between us and the US, especially. Like they don't make it very easy for us to get our money over there, for them to get their money over here, is what I'm noticing. So even things like the crypto thing, like
yeah,
they can't send a USD coin, which is a stable coin, over
right.
here. Like
It's pretty wild. Yeah, no, because
the
they want
bank wants to
money.
be involved. They're like, we
Yeah,
need to be there. Where's your money? Can
yeah.
we get thank you? You can't do it without them. They won't let you. Whereas in the
Uh,
US, it's like, you can have some money. You can have some money. And the banks are like, I don't even care what you're doing. Send money.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. Because
Wow.
Cash App, Venmo, we have Interact, right? And Interact does
Yeah,
all
we
the
just have e-transfer.
stuff like
That's
that,
it.
right? So
And
it's not a
PayPal.
coincidence, you know, it's not a coincidence. Sometimes it's like these companies have a lot of control over policy, you know, and they're like, yo, right now we make 100% on e-transfers. You're telling me Cash App's gonna try to come take that? Nah, Trudeau, what's good?
Bruno, we need all our money. Literally.
Yeah,
It
so
reminds me of that, I don't know if you saw that commercial. It's a Canadian commercial. Maybe it's an American one too. From like, I think we were a bit younger and it was like hands in your pocket, hands in your pocket, hands. And
oh
like you're running on the treadmill and the bank's got their hand in your pocket. Like you're at
yeah,
the grocery
yeah.
store and they got their hand.
Yeah.
That's literally them. Hand always in your back
Oh,
pocket. And
yeah.
it's becoming suffocating. And I really feel like if enough Canadian, especially entrepreneurs, I think this mostly appeals to somebody with an entrepreneurial mind, really rally and like, be like, hey, we need this exchange. We need this ability to do this for our business. We need this ability to create these different innovations. So that's what they're doing. They're stopping the flow of creativity essentially by not letting these things in.
No, facts. Well, you know what? Now's a good time to also mention we're in the middle of an election, so go vote, I guess. People, go vote.
Yep.
Make sure
Yep.
you do your research and know what you're voting for. I am very, very, very passionate about people not just voting, but being just engaged and aware about what's happening, right? So
Yeah.
I think that's like a crucial thing. Like you said, a lot of people kind of have this cynical view, things won't change, da 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 da. And yeah, there's a lot of things that, you know, should have changed already, you know, just given the sheer amount of people that want to see it. But at the end of the day, like, you know, we still have to continue to be a part of these systems and vote and stuff like that. So, you know, for anybody who's in Canada, definitely go pay attention to that election. Don't sleep. You know what I mean? I'm voting
Yes,
for my boy
please.
Tag Me saying the NDP, but you know,
Yes.
your own research.
I
That's
like him. He's
my
very
guy
likable.
though.
Very, very likable
He's
person.
charismatic. Yeah, he's
He
charismatic.
is.
Yeah,
He is.
yeah.
He's got a beautiful family too, so it's like I love
Yeah.
seeing people like that be the leaders.
We need a person of color just up there, you know what I mean? Like really up there, not just
Mhm.
tokenly up there, not just
Mhm.
there because he fills in some kind of quota. Like we need the leadership.
Mhm.
So until there's a
Exactly.
black prime minister up, then Jagmeet, you're next up. And honestly, he has good politics. He has good politics. I'm not
He
just saying
does.
that, he's a person of color. He has great politics and
Mhm.
yeah. So definitely people go vote in your own countries as well and be involved and know what's going on. That's my last plug. We can segue back.
No, that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. It's important. It's important. This stuff belongs in all these conversations. It's all intertwined. Um, if there was anything that you could make happen for your innovation by the end of 2020 that maybe you want to make public so that maybe if anybody were to watch this video and they can maybe,
You meant
you
2020.
know,
I know.
2021. Oh,
Trust me, I know how it goes. We're all there. It was like we just hopped over. You know what I mean? It was like 2021. Where did 2120 go? We don't know. I got
yeah.
you. Um,
Yeah, I don't know. Is there any goals that you can make public? Because maybe somebody might be watching this, and maybe another innovator, another entrepreneur, an investor, somebody who might be able to, connect with you after. Is there anything that you would like to put out there in terms of what it is that you're looking
that's
for, what direction is you're trying to go in? Because the universe works in
yeah.
mystical ways.
Yeah, no, I like the way that you're thinking about it. I would say right now it would be nice to have like an angel investor. So that's somebody who's just like with it, they're on the ride. They're just like, you know what, just name the price and let's do it. You know what I mean? Because at the stage that we're at, like we can discover a whole bunch of things about Loud. It's kind of
Mm-hmm.
weird to like offer shares of a company that we're still establishing the model of and things like that. So an
Mm-hmm.
angel investor is kind of less interested in the direct return on investment. They're kind of more interested in being that first person to believe in the idea. Because then
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to shares, they're first in line. Because it's like
Yeah.
when you had, you know what I mean? When you wanted to, we did that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
No,
So
it's
it
true.
would it would be nice. That would definitely be nice. And the whole point is to maintain like control of what it is because a lot of times investors kind of come in and they might have competing interests, right?
Mm.
So it's great to have like somebody who's just interested in seeing, following, and pushing the startup forward, not necessarily controlling the direction. Because
Mm.
sometimes investors, their interest could compete with the interest of the customer, right? And they can end up killing the product, thinking that they're doing something good for the product, right? So an angel
It's
investor would
true.
definitely be open to that. I would definitely be open. Like we're building our investor like I guess like list. So we have like a bunch of people who like reached out and stuff like that. So if you're interested, if you're a person that like hears this idea and kind of thinks, wow, this could be a big thing, just reach out to me. You can hit up invest@loud.army and we'll add you to that list. And then when our companies mature to the point where we are looking for investors, we'll reach out to you. What else? For me, my goals are literally like I'm a product focused person. So
Mm-hmm.
like I rarely talk about money. I'm always talking about like artists and producers. More artists, more producers, right? So if what we're doing is right, then my intention to put out into the universe is that people actually use the platform and share it, and that's what's been happening. We've grown like really quickly. The app that I told you about, we launched. Well, not even launched. It's not even launched yet. We finished it in April, and then like through word of mouth, it's already grown to over 100 users. So continuing that growth, yeah, I would love
Yeah.
it. And when we talk to artists and producers, they're excited. They're like ready to go. They're like artists are like somebody just let me in. Like you know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
they like the world's not ready for what's about to happen now that I have that access to beats that Drake does. You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly.
Like yo, somebody just let me in. You know what I mean? No one's ready for what's gonna happen when I get this beat into the artist's hands. And that's the
Yeah.
whole thing, right? Is that like seeing the creation that happens when you just let people free and you just kind of create a structure where both people win, artists and producers. Because a lot of times they have competing interests. Like if we're talking about competing interests, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Artists are trying to get the most beats for the least amount of money, and obviously producers need to make money from their beats. So we created a situation where it's like they can work together, and I just want to see, maybe it would be great to put on the universe that that some magic happens, and some great music
Yeah.
comes out of that. That would be really cool. Yeah.
I would also urge you, I'm not sure, have you created your Afrinection profile yet?
Oh, let me do that. I didn't know. I didn't
So, this
know.
is plug. um, when you do create your profile, I believe there is a what I'm looking for section. Put this all there. Because people are browsing, looking, you know what I mean? And they just might, if they're interested, they might be like, oh, I'm looking for that too. Um,
Nice.
so that was the whole purpose, to really, connect people. So be sure to complete your profile shortly after this interview so that anybody who's watched this interview can go find you on the Afrinection site. It takes like, if you might already have a lot of the stuff pre-written,
Yes.
because you have a business model. So it shouldn't take you more than 10 minutes, honestly.
Nice.
And then you can browse through yourself to see if there's anybody who aligns with what it is that you're doing, what it is that you're looking for. Tons of different kinds of people on there from every industry and every industry you could imagine. So be
Yeah.
sure to get that done. I can relink you to that after this.
Yes, please.
I'm trying to think, is there anything else that I wanted to ask you? We're at the half an hour mark, so I think half an hour is good. This is my first time doing this one,
You're doing
so
great. You're doing great. My
it is
my
good.
tax is at is at 7%. So I might have to pause for a little bit to charge it, but yeah, I'm with it. I'm on the ride. Yeah.
That's good. I feel like, wait, let me just double check to see if there was anything else that I needed. Oopsie, that I needed to ask you before I let you go.
Sure.
Just to make sure that everybody who's watching this gets the most out of this interview. Um, in your opinion, last question I'll
Mm.
ask you: what is the key missing element in Africa's sustainable growth from an economic perspective? This is just a little, just to see what you think.
Day, day.
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
this is a dope question.
yeah.
I would say I'm gonna I guess they say humbly. I feel like I do a lot of research, but I don't feel like I can actually speak on this topic because like Africa is just such a large place, different countries, different things. So I would say this is such a dope question, and I feel like I have more questions really when it comes to like an answer for this. I feel like there's a lot more questions that I think people should explore. Like one is I think for all people of the diaspora, just our shared history and the things that have happened to African people around the world, I think has left us with a kind of a resilience, yes, but also a trauma. And part of that trauma is that we've kind of accepted stereotypes about ourselves to ourselves. Like a lot of people will be like, "Oh, black people do this," and then I'll look at them and I'm like, "Do you do that?" And then they'll be like, "No, I'm different." No, no, no. We are all kind of, we're all following this like we all have this trauma, and we all kind of accept certain things about each other that aren't true, that are just things that we just keep saying out loud, and that's what we're making real.
Yeah.
So I want to approach this question kind of more metaphorically or more broadly because I just can't speak on
Mm-hmm.
all the different relationships between the different countries in Africa. But I think one thing is like black people, I guess, around the world is being ready to kind of be vulnerable and dispel these myths that we think about other black people, right? Like, and it's crazy. It's like so deep. Like I remember
Yeah.
growing up, I grew up in Rexville, so there was a lot of Caribbean people, West Indian people, and then a lot of like West African people, and then a lot of like East Africans and Somalis, and they would be like, the Somalis would call everybody Jamaican, like everybody, even the West Africans. They're like, "Oh, you're
I
Jamaican." Da,
remember.
da, da.
I remember.
You know what I'm talking
No,
about.
I grew up in Etobicoke, so I'm
So
like, I
you know
know.
exactly what I'm
I
talking about.
know.
And there was
I know.
wars. There were like we literally fought wars with our people. You know what I mean? And like that unity's starting to happen now. So I don't want to bring up old traumas or whatever. But
Yeah.
you know, you would see like you'd have on the other side, you'd have like West Indians who'd be like, I'm not African, you know, they'll be like, I'm not West African, but Somalis see all of us as West African, and
Yeah, they're like, actually, you are.
and everybody else in the world is like, you guys are black. I don't even care what country you come from. So I
I
think,
know.
yeah. So I
Isn't
think,
that funny?
yeah, I think
Uh,
collaborating with each other is really important rather than kind of looking out and wanting to do the biggest deal with the other communities and stuff like that. Like that's great too, but there is so much talent in this group of people because think about everything we've been through. Look at what Haiti's going through right now. You know what I mean?
mhm.
They got the president was assassinated. They got hit with an earthquake and then a storm. Like that is it's incredible what these people have been through and what comes out of that is like resilience and creativity and great ideas. It's not I don't want to sit here and like and romanticize like going through trauma and pain, but the truth is like we're incredibly resilient people that have great ideas, so let's connect with each other, whether that's building bridges, you know, like real bridges or just building
Yeah,
bridges and like inviting people from different black communities or different black countries into your house and just asking them like what is it like over there, you know what I mean? So I think that's a big thing. I know
I
the
think that's
one
a great
little
answer.
you know about Africa in terms of like the geopolitical or like the infrastructure is that it's easier to get to other countries like outside of Africa than it is to travel between. Now, I don't want to like because I've never been, but that's a criticism that I've heard. So
Hmm.
that goes down to the fact that you know a lot of colonial infrastructure. That's how it was built to extract things from Africa, not for Africa to collaborate with.
Wow.
So
No,
that's
it's
the next
true. Yeah.
that's the step that I want to see, you know, the highways and the bridges that connect different African countries so that, you know, we're not thinking like, you know, Ghana's not thinking about where's the best country that they could trade with that's not their neighbor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
They still
yeah. And
have
like
all
I said,
those ports, the same ports that they used to
yeah,
export us in the first place. They still have all those ports
yeah,
open.
yeah, yeah. And
But
then I want to make the disclaimer that I'm talking very, very, very roughly because I don't have the knowledge to like speak on this myself. And I don't want anybody to come like to really think that I
yeah,
talking like specifically because I'm absolutely not. I don't have enough knowledge to really talk specifically. But I think that was a dope question, Dave. And I
I
think
appreciate that you tackling that, even though you were kind of scared of the question. You actually gave me a lot more to think about after asking you that. So thank you. It's always just nice to throw that out. You might surprise yourself with what it is you actually think about something that you don't often think about. I think that's a great answer. I do also believe that oneness, is what's missing. I'm from Jamaica. We have a saying, of basically like it's
of
many
me,
people that makes
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I was like, I know every Jamaican knows the saying, so like now I can repeat it. You know, like I had a friend where we're chilling. She just be like, out of many one people, and I'm like, whoa, like, it's in there, yeah, yeah,
No, it's
absolutely.
real though. And that's what I believe that the diaspora and the Africans, who are in Africa, came to the US or Canada from Africa, we need to have. I remember being told once by a Nigerian girl, no, 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 you're not African, you're black. And I was like, I am so confused because I was brought up with this whole idea of Pan-Africanism, where in which like
Mhm.
we share everything.
Mhm.
I'm Jamaican, but I was brought up, where did that shiki go into drum circles on the weekend? I'm like, I thought it
Yeah,
was African too.
a lot of people
So
no,
yeah,
I come across this too from so like folks that are like from the continent is that although these countries are not in like literally on like in African soil, like the people have really carried the identity that we're African. Absolutely. So I agree with you. We don't even
yeah,
think twice. We think of ourselves as Africans. Yeah.
yeah, 100%. Um, but yeah, that was my last question. I really appreciate that answer. I'm actually gonna have to quote you on some of that. That was very, very good. Yeah, does anybody watching have any questions for Mr. Kimani Peter, CEO of Loud Army, before we end this chat? Oh, wait. There's like three people in here right now. Who's in here?
Ooh, my
Nick,
bad.
Nick,
1%.
and oh, you're at what?
I'm at one. Let me
Okay. You
what's
know what? We're gonna we're gonna end this clean cut just so that you don't end up leaving on accident before we have to leave. I'm gonna post this interview for everyone's viewing, and you
awesome.
might get some engagement on the post. So feel free to come back over, engage in the post if you see some, you know. And don't forget to create your
Oh, Nick
profile.
said that was great. Thanks, Nick. Appreciate it. Yes, me too. Me too. Definitely. I need to get that link from you. I'm gonna set up my profile.
Yes,
Yeah,
amazing. Well, guys, thank you. Thank you very much. Hey, thank you.
it's been great.
CEOs, their CEOs are in here. So there you
Oh,
go.
wow. Oh, that's dope.
Yeah,
Can't
these
wait.
guys are great. Um, yeah, I'm going to post this interview. Thank you so much for being on here. I'm so glad we finally got to have this chat. Please enjoy the rest of your evening, and we will connect further after this. Okay?
Good. Thanks for having me. Peace.
Bye.